Hello folks, my name's Headley, another fat bearded man talking about records. And I've just watched a video by James Griffith, and it was called Genre-Specific Compilation Albums. And I know that James loves a good compilation album, and in many ways they are the records that kind of get us into specific types of music and genres. For many people they will be the first, I don't know, ska record they have, or rock and roll record, and these compilations show you where then to go and where to look next. And James showed some great stuff. But one of the things he didn't show, which I thought was surprising, was he didn't show any country music compilations. He didn't have any, which I know he likes country music, so it is a bit surprising, but it's also surprising considering I think probably country music compilations probably outnumber any other genre of music compilation by about 10 to 1. Now I did originally think to perhaps do a similar to James's video, a kind of a collection of various types of genre specific collections I have, but seeing as he missed out country music, I thought, well, it's a good opportunity for me to show a collection of country music compilations that I have, if you'll bear with me and allow me to do that. So I think we need to start at the very beginning, and this is Harry Smith's anthology of American folk music. This is probably the birth of the recording history of country music, and it's an interesting collection. 3 volumes, and there was a 4th volume that was done later, but it's a time from the late 20s into the early 30s that these were all recorded. Harry Smith collected them from old shellac records and compiled them for probably the first time that had been done. And it's a time when you really can't tell the difference between folk music, country music and blues. It all sort of melds into one, and it would be only later, after the 1920s and 30s, where the sort of specifics of these musics would be nailed down, and you'd know what you were listening to. So anyway, I'm not going to go into too much detail because that deserves a video of its own. But yeah, so that's early country music in there from the 1920s. I don't really have much else from there, so we're going to skip up to some Western swing. This is a collection on OK. This has got all the regular people you'd expect to see. You've got Bob Wills and his Texas Playboys. You've got Spade Cooley. You've got Hank Penny. It's got some other ones I'm unfamiliar with. Anyway, so that's a nice double disc collection from OK of Western swing. This is slightly more specific Western swing. This is from Western swing in Houston, 1936 to 41. Some great names on here. Dickie McBride and the Village Boys. Cliff Bruner's Texas Wanderers. And Shelley Lee Alley and his Alley Cats. So that's more Western swing. Moving on a bit from Western swing, we've got country boogie. Country boogie was a genre that sort of kind of is a precursor to rockabilly, and this is a really nice compilation. It's got Merle Travis, Tennessee Ernie Ford, Louvin Brothers on here. So it's that sort of driving boogie country from the 1930s. Got another collection of that. This is cowboy boogie woogie. People like Floyd Tillman on here, Billy Strange, Spade Cooley's on here. Yeah, good stuff. What's country music without singing cowboys? This is a collection of singing cowboys. Rex Allen, Gene Autry, Tex Ritter, Roy Rogers, Jimmy Wakely. Got another one. This is on. This is Shasta Records, and again, this has got people like Jimmy Wakely, Gene Autry, Tex Ritter, Johnny Bond, Merle Travis. Great stuff. Love singing cowboys. This is a collection of what it says cowboys, all-round cowboys. This is on our RCA. It does have your singing cowboys on, but it sort of broadens it out to have sort of songs of cowboys, like The Last Gunfighter Ballad by Guy Clark. Jimmy Driftwood's on here, Johnny Russell. Willie Nelson's on here singing The Streets of Laredo. So it's not specifically the singing cowboys, but it's cowboy music. In the same set, I suppose, this is all-round bluegrass on RCA, Lester Flatt, Jimmy Martin. But it's also got weird ones on here, like Don Gibson, John Hartford, Skeeter Davis. Oh, there she is. Yeah, so I don't have many bluegrass compilations. There aren't that many I've found anyway. Certainly not on vinyl. Gospel country. This is Gospel Favourites, Volume 1. Oak Ridge Boys. Webb Pierce is on here. Grandpa Jones. So you got things like I Saw the Light. I don't really know the other ones. Obviously, religious songs in the country style. Okay, I got loads and loads of these sort of country hits. Eddie Arnold, Chet Atkins, Hank Snow. This is an interesting one. Moonshine, Hank Williams, Tom Paul Glaser and the Glaze Brothers, Marvin Rainwater, Don Gibson, Osborne Brothers, so a bit of everything on that. Country and Western Hall of Fame. This has just got Hank Lachlan, Jimmy Dean, Patsy Cline and Webb Pierce. Nice cover, I like that. Classy. Another compilation, 20 golden pieces of country hits. You got Wyn Stewart, Roy Orbison, Merle Kilgore, who co-wrote Ring of Fire for Johnny Cash. Dang Me by Roger Miller. Anyway, yeah. Another one, there's a country, what's that one called? Country Feelin'. 16 great classics. Carl Perkins, Patsy Cline, Willie Nelson, Freddie Fender. Double album, The World of Country Giants. We're into the sort of 70s with these sort of ones. Nice sort of double album. Yeah, we get the later stuff. So you got people like Lynn Anderson, Sammy Smith, Tammy Wynette's on here, Carl Smith, Stonewall Jackson. That one, More Country Matters. I haven't got Country Matters. This has got some interesting stuff on it though. This has got Larry John Wilson, who's a bit of a country funk kind of guy. You've also got Barefoot Jerry, who are kind of country rock. Lloyd Green, the steel guitar player. But yeah. And this one, 20 town and country greats, which is kind of countrypolitan stuff from the 70s. So you get people like Olivia Newton-John on here. Charlie Rich doing his sort of Nashville sound stuff. Gene Pitney's even on here. I say Lynn Anderson as well, yeah. So, you know, of its time, that sort of stuff. Okay, I've got lots of trucking compilations. This is probably the best one on RCA. This is Keep On Trucking. Probably the best one because it does actually have Terry Fell's Truck Driving Man from 1954, which is probably one of the earliest sort of trucking songs. But yeah, so that's one. That's two. Trucker's Country Paradise. Bit weird one, this one. This has got Kitty Wells, Bill Monroe, Jimmy Martin, Roy Clark. Yeah. Gary Stewart. People you don't really thought would do trucking songs. Trucking On the Gusto label. K-Tel, Strike Again, as advertised on TV. 20 great truck driving songs. Johnny Paycheck, Dave Dudley, Dwayne Eddy is even on there. Highballing hits, 22 highballing hits. Yeah. Last of the Truckers. Trucking On, two record set. But this has got some good stuff on it. It's got Merle Haggard, Red Simpson, a couple of Merle Haggard songs actually, a couple of Red Simpson songs, and a couple of C.W. McCall. You can't have a country trucking song without C.W. McCall. Okay, Texas country. There's a genre into itself. 2 record set with early stuff. So Sons of the Pioneers, Bob Wills, Ernest Tubb, but then you get later stuff like Jerry Jeff Walker, Joe Ely, Ed Bruce, Tanya Tucker. Really nice. On Starday Records, Stars of the Steel Guitar. So this is steel guitar players, pedal steel guitar players. So you've got Buddy Emmons, Ralph Mooney, Leon McAuliffe, Pete Drake, who worked with Bob Dylan later. Then we're into country rock. So we've got a country rock collection here. Doobie Brothers, Bellamy Brothers, Linda Ronstadt, The Byrds, Dr. Hook, The Band. But it's got some weird stuff on here that you really wouldn't call country rock. You've got Sweet Home Alabama on here by Leonard Skinner. What's the other one I thought that didn't really? Oh, you got Canned Heat, Going Up the Country. Boston, More Than a Feeling. Country rock? Never really thought of it that way. Great collection, Australian collection on Warner's. This is Cosmic Country. You've got the people like Graham Parsons, Emmylou Harris, Doug Sarm, the Dillards, Little Feat, Crazy Horse, Beau Brummels. Brilliant collection, that one. More esoteric. This is Wayfaring Strangers, Cosmic American Music, which is a collection of sort of outsider, independent country rock from the mostly 1970s, maybe some late 60s. Australian country rock. This is Silver Roads, Australian country rock and singer-songwriters of the 1970s. With some great stuff on there. Country soul, this is, or country funk, heavy soul, this. So you have Black Oak, Arkansas, Don Nix, Lonnie Mack, James Luther Dickinson, Delaney and Bonnie. But it's also got things like Aretha Franklin doing The Wait and Cher, Wilson Pickett. So you've got it coming from the sort of people influenced by country from the soul side. So yeah, heavy soul, really nice collection that. We're into the sort of 90s, or no, the 80s this is. This was released in the mid-90s, and it's on Vinyl Junkie, which is a British UK label that would turn into Loose Records later on. But this is kind of, I suppose, late 80s, early 90s, cowpunk and alternative country. So you've got the Blasters on here, Rosie Flores, but you've also got things like, it's interesting this one, you've got Butch Hancock, Townes Van Sant, Rattlesnake Annie, yeah, so interesting kind of alternative country that's sort of on the fringes of country music from the late 80s, early 90s. Also by Vinyl Junkie, this is Cowpunks, 25 trailblazing tracks. This is, yeah, I'm not going to tell you what's on there. I've done a video about it before. And then bringing kind of slightly more up to date, this is Another Country. This is Songs of Dignity and Redemption from the other side of the tracks. This is Americana, I suppose you'd call it. So you have bands like Scud Mountain Boys, Lamb Chop, Wilco, Calexico, and artists like Jim O'Rourke, Jim White, Kelly Joe Phelps. Yeah, really nice. There's some weird stuff on here, like Lower on here, which I suppose it's kind of got a slight Americana to it. But yeah, so Another Country, really nice. I think that there is a second volume of this, but I don't think that's available on vinyl. Anyway, there you go. So I thought this would be an opportunity for me to show these as well before I go. I'm going to keep it short. This is a collection by the Franklin Mint, you know, usually doing porcelain and stuff like that. But this is a wonderful collection they did called The Greatest Country Music Recordings of All Time. There are 100 volumes, and it's available in 2 formats. One that is a box set of 2 records, and One I think that was only available in Germany and into Scandinavia. That's 4 discs, which is this one, and I think I've only got one of the 2 disc sets. But these are lovely, lovely collections. They're kind of very well curated. They have some of the best country music you can possibly find, and they cover the whole sort of spectrum of country genres. So this is volume 1 through to 4, so that's records 1 to 4. And this is what it calls Our Stories in Song. And with all of these discs, you get inside, you get a booklet with a bit of a write-up about them, all the artists, so you get like that. This collection, yeah, it's on the singer-songwriters. So you get people like Dolly Parton, Merle Haggard, Tom T. Hall on the first 2 discs. Then on the second disc, you get people like Joe South, John D. Loudermilk, John Hartford. You even get Townes Van Sant, Billy Joe Shaver as well. And all of the discs in the set come with these purpose-made, lovely poly-lined inners. And the discs themselves are these rather groovy burgundy, I don't know if you can see those, lovely burgundy records. They sound wonderful. I don't know where they were pressed, but they sound great. And like a lot of stuff, for some reason these were not played. A lot of the ones I've got seem to be completely unplayed. Anyway, so that's the first volume, which is Our Stories in Song. The next one is Bluegrass, so that's 4 discs of Bluegrass. You've got Bill Monroe, Stanley Brothers, Flatt and Scruggs, Reno and Smiley. So I don't know why I'm showing the front, because they all look exactly the same. But that's 4 discs of Bluegrass. The next one I've got is 17 through to 20, and this is Country to Pop. There is one that's also pop to country. So this is country artists that started to go in a pop direction. So that's the sort of countrypolitan that it would be called. So you get people like Barbara Mandrell, Larry Gatlin, Lynn Anderson, Ronnie Millsap on there. Interesting stuff. Not necessarily my favourite type of country. Then you got Country Strings. Now this is made up of 2 sets. The first one is guitar pickers. So the first discs are guitar pickers like Chet Atkins and Merle Travis. And then the second set is fiddle players. So you get people like Earl Scruggs. I know he's a banjo player, isn't he? But you get fiddle players like Vassar Clements, Benny Martin, people like that. This is one of the 2 sets. This is country rock, so that's what's on that? Interesting stuff. Bigger, these ones. So this has got Graham Parsons, Emmylou Harris, The Byrds, Burrito Brothers, Jerry Jeff Walker, Michael Naismith, The Band, Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, Asleep at the Wheel, Commander Cody, Steve Young, Alabama, Charlie Daniels Band. Great stuff. 2 discs of country rock. This is 37 to 40, and this is Country Gospel with Tennessee Ernie Ford, Jimmy Davis, the Chuck Wagon Gang. Not really familiar with them, but yeah, 4 discs of country gospel. This is 4 discs of Willie Nelson and the Outlaws. So the first disc is the first 2 discs are Willie Nelson, and the third and fourth are the Outlaw movement. So Waylon Jennings, Willie Nelson, Jerry Jeff Walker, Townes Van Sant, people like that. Penultimate one I've got, 73 to 76. This is hits of the 50s and 60s and rockabilly. So the first 2 discs are rockabilly, Jerry Lee Lewis, Buddy Holly. What else have we got in this? This is an interesting one. Bill Haley, Carl Smith, Marty Robbins, Carl Perkins, Gene Vincent, Johnny Burnett, Charlie Feathers, Johnny Cash, Dale Hawkins, Conway Twitty, Everly Brothers. And then the second one, the hits of the 50s and 60s, you get people like Hank Locklin, Dave Dudley, Johnny Horton, Billy Walker, Leroy Van Dyke, Red Sovine. Yeah. And then finally, the last one I've got in the set is 77 to 80, and it's Folk Roots of Country Music and Cajun Country. So with this one you get some early stuff. People like Mike Seeger, Fiddling John Carson, Doc Watson, Mike Seeger. And then the second disc of country Cajun music, obviously you get people like, where is he? Harry Choates, one of the big names, Jimmy C. Newman, Doug Kershaw, the Balfour Brothers. Yeah, so I love a bit of Cajun. So there you go. So I thought that was a good opportunity to show those. How many have I got? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I've probably got half of them. I need to collect them all. Sometimes you find them cheap, sometimes they're not. Anyway, thanks James for giving me the opportunity to show that load of country music. I hope you can see there's all kinds of various genres within country music. So when you say I don't like country music, what type of country music you're talking about? Is it western swing you don't like? Is it countrypolitan you don't like? Is it bluegrass you don't like? Is it honky tonk you don't like? Yeah. Anyway, so thanks James. This was longer than I thought it was going to be. So I'm going to be back soon with something else. So until then, bye bye for now.